What's up? What's up? Hello, everyone. Calling you from the cottage today, as you can see. A little more woodland background, log cabin background for you guys. It's pretty terrible weather out here, but good to be in nature, anyways. Nice to see everyone coming back in here. Missed you guys. Didn't get to see you last week. I was in Cannes for the ETHCC conference. Lots of fun there. God, I love Cannes. I don't know if you guys have been there before. It is beautiful. Right next to Nice, one of my favorite places in the world that I've ever been. Previously, I've only really been to Nice for vacation because, that's what you want to do when you're there. But going for business was pretty cool as well. Much quieter conference than I think we're used to. A lot less app teams there, some institutions there. It was a little bit more catered. Definitely not a lot of retail there, although I didn't go into the main conference, so maybe a little bit more within there. But yeah, I stuck to the side events and definitely did not see a lot of retail there. Um, I don't think that really matters. I think it's still useful to go to these conferences without the retail. It's actually a little bit better depending on what your preferences are. I loved it. I think a lot of other people loved it as well. People seem to be having a really fun time there. And yeah, finally back home. Got stuck in Munich for a night, but we made it home. And good to be back in Canada and just back to the grind here. We're gearing up for quite the couple of months ahead. You guys might have seen our roadmap post go out today. That's what we're going to talk about. Some of my thoughts on kind of where we're at, where we're going next. We'll make it pretty quick because I'm gonna have to get back to work and continue building. But just wanted to check in with you guys and share sort of an update. So so that's what we're gonna do today. Feel free to hit me up in the chat anytime along the way as I go through this stuff. Happy to answer any questions. Uh, but before we get into the roadmap, I actually want to share some thoughts that I put together earlier on where I think on-chain retail is. So I put out a post today. Let me show you guys. Put out a post. Here we are. Talking about where I think on-chain retail is at. So last cycle, this cycle, whatever you want to call it, the bull market we just had, it felt a little bit weird. It felt a little strange, right? So previous cycles were very retail driven. And this is what has driven the prices of a lot of crypto assets up is this retail speculation around where this market is going to take us, how much this is going to change the world, all that stuff. Now the institutions have showed up and they didn't care as much to speculate on crypto prices. They were more after, chasing on-chain yields and building out more like rails for them to conduct more traditional finance on. And this left us in a weird spot because we did gain a lot of adoption, but we got left off with a point of like, all right, well, what happens with all these retail apps that didn't really gain users this time around? What's next for them? And I think if you look at crypto Twitter and, from my experience talking to people at ETHCC, this sentiment is kind of that retail on-chain applications and retail crypto or just DeFi or anything else is pretty much dead. And I actually don't think that it is dead forever. And I want to share my thoughts on why that is. So Geoffrey Moore has this book called Crossing the Chasm, where he talks about basically this phase in between the early adopters of a technology and then where it gains mass adoption. It's this awkward phase where we figure out basically if we can bridge over to mass adoption and start to bring in people to use a technology, not just because they want to see something new. And this is most of why we're here in crypto. It's like, oh, this is new and exciting, but because this is solving a lot of real problems for people. So this is the phase we're in right now, the chasm. And I don't think that means that we're dead. I think that means that we're about to find out if crypto as retail products, and I don't mean just DeFi, I mean all on-chain products, is going to be able to make that leap from a bunch of nerds who are like, this is really cool technology, look what I can do with it, to the rest of the world that says, wait a minute, this is solving a real problem for me. So that's the point that I think we're at. And I think that people mistake that for we're dead in the water. On-chain uh, applications, they were never really built for humans to use. There's a lot of talk about they're built for AI agents to use, which is, I think, another story. And I think is not a dumb take. I think crypto is very AI native, uh, friendly to AI agents natively. But what I would say is that I don't think that means that it's not for humans. Um, and with this basically being the sentiment right now, I think the way that we've tried to approach it is like go back to trying to find new ways to allow people to gamble within DeFi, because that's what people have done in general as retail in this space. They've gambled on stuff because it's a way of using the technology in a fun, exciting way that might make them money, and they get their dopamine from participating in that. But I don't think we can just continue to try to recycle that. We're seeing this with PumpFun right now. People aren't so happy at the PumpFun ecosystem because it's become very extractive, right? Once you start to see some stats about there's X amount of tokens that launch, this is the average ROI on them, this is the average holding time, which is, I think, about 12 seconds. So the average amount of time someone spends holding a token that they buy on PumpFun is 12 seconds. Which basically means there's no sustainability there. It's this engine to try to extract value from people that are coming in and not selling their tokens. And these other people are just rinsing them and repeating. So I don't think we can continue to try to force people to use on-chain apps on the retail side by just giving them a new thing to gamble on, because this has proven to have a very short shelf life every time we do this. There are some cool things coming out. Rise.rich was a really cool one I've been following if you guys saw my account, but I think this kind of fixes a lot of those issues of extraction. And I think that Rise.rich is well positioned to kind of create a comeback for retail to speculate on new crypto assets. But today I want to talk about, bringing retail users in for other reasons than to speculate on crypto assets. So this is basically what we're trying to do at Spicenet is we want to be the thing that fixes this, right? Apps are being built to allow users to do something. Look at repo.ai, right? The thing they've built is really cool and very large in total addressable market. They can allow publishers to come in, publish their content, and earn for doing that. They can allow you to scroll through this content and vote on it, right? So this is very accessible by most people because everyone in the world knows how to publish content and scroll through content as well. This is what we do every day. I'm literally looking at Twitter right now, right? This is what I do in my free time. Why not get paid to do it? That's kind of the repo thesis. And then they use that engine to power data that can be used to train AI or company inference, all these other things, right? So, an extremely cool application of what is possible when you combine basically content engine with prediction markets to qualify it and then sell that data. And that can only really be done on chain. So it's a good example of, an application that should cater to retail and should basically allow retail to use DeFi or blockchain for other reasons than to speculate on assets. And the roadblock for repo and other teams like that is trying to actually make it usable by the rest of the world. So I think this is basically the unlock that crosses the chasm for us, the chasm, sorry. The ability to take all this tech that's very niche and hard to use and make it kind of palatable to the rest of the world. This is where Spicenet is sitting. This is what SpiceFlow does. And today I want to basically tell you how we're going to proceed from here to make that happen. And for the record, this is why I don't care about what's happening with the market. You know, if you're going to produce real outcomes, why does it matter if people are speculating highly or not right now? Just go out and do it and prove those results to people. That's the only thing that matters here. So next we're going to pivot to this roadmap that we put out from Spicenet today. I want to walk you guys through it and answer any questions that you guys have on it. Let me just bring it up. Okay, here we go. So this is our update roadmap. This is the pathway that we're going to take to producing better financial outcomes as the brokerage network for DeFi. So just to recap where we've been, if you haven't been following along fully, in December, we had our BrokeX DevNet. So with one of our app clients that's on Pharos, we created an integration that allowed users to deposit to their application from any of the other blockchains that we're on, which is most of the major EVM chains. So we had 18,000 users who tested that, and 70% of them said that that app felt fully native to the chain that they were coming from. So this is different than bridging over, right? Obviously, if I have to go to a third-party bridge, I know for a fact that I'm going to another chain, and it feels like I'm taking on a whole new user journey when I go to that other chain. However, we were able to create a UX that 70% of people said felt native to, I think it was Base or Ethereum that we tested with. Moving on to February, we ran a campaign with Elytra. This is a team that's on Citria. And this was the first campaign where we had our EIP 7702 implementation. EIP 7702 is a transaction type or a signature type that allows you to bundle multiple transactions into one signature. So this even further allowed our ability to make this app feel fully native to the users on other chains. You'll see that 81% of people said that this felt fully native to the chain that they were coming from. And since then, we've just continued to take more and more steps to remove the difficulties that come from trying to access an app that is on a different chain than when you're holding your assets. And not only did we do that, we started fixing a lot of the problems that users face if they're on the exact same chain as the app, right? So it's one thing to be able to get my capital to an application, but what if every time I touch that application, it's asking me to go to a third-party app and then come back to it? What do you think happens? Apps lose users in that transition because the users have to go try a different app, come back, right? You have to hope they come back. People drop off in that process. For users, this is just like a shitty user experience, right? It's annoying. I don't like to do this. Imagine if I downloaded an app on my phone and when I went into the app and I opened it up, it said, okay, now go download these 3 other apps, right? This is unheard of for obvious reasons. And we have to be able to fix that to cross this chasm. So that's what we did. And we got increasingly good feedback on it. And right now, we're looking at our testnet private testing of our second product, Spice Edge. Brief overview of what Spice Edge is more for institutional access. So for traders, market makers, hedge funds, all these people to get higher capital efficiency on whatever strategies they're running. We can do this by having a unified account and risk engine in which all of your assets are looked at across all of the different exchanges that you're touching. So you run a strategy on Hyperliquid and you're hedging between Hyperliquid and Derive options, for example. These things can be cross-margined so that you're not taking on liquidation risk on either side. Of course, options contracts, you don't have liquidation risk. But the ability to reduce the risk by tying the risk, both platforms into the same risk engine, and speed up execution by allowing you to immediately execute across either platform and not having to have money there ahead of time creates a massive edge for institutional players. And this is the product that we're testing right now. I believe right now we have 25 collateral types that are enabled through it, and I think we have more, or it might be 25 ETFs actually. I have to remember my conversation with my CTO from this morning. But I believe it's more ETFs as collateral than are possible anywhere else on chain today. So that's kind of a cool little fact. Now, really exciting. What you guys have been waiting for. Actually, I'm sure this thing right here is what you guys have really been waiting for. Um, judging off the comments that I get on Twitter. But our Spicenet, our Spice Flow mainnet is launching this month. So we will be taking all the apps that we have built testnet integrations with and moving them into mainnet. And this will be open for all users to use. We're currently having people test the actual mainnet apps from outside of our team. We're keeping that testing group quite small for now, just making sure things go smoothly. And then soon we're just going to roll that out for everyone to use. And this is going to be pretty special. I mean, this is the thing I'm most excited for in our journey so far. We've worked really hard to come to this point, and we can't wait for you guys to also get involved with those products. We'll have a lot of really fun campaigns with the apps that we're launching with, and some really interesting things for you guys to participate in. I think you guys will be quite excited for what's to come there. And of course, all of this leading towards TGE. What more can I say? TGE. Everyone asks when TGE constantly. This is going to give you an idea right here. Q3 2026. This is when we're looking at TGE. Listen, guys, as much as I would love to launch a token today, it's not the right thing to do to launch a token before you have the product live and the traction out there. For everyone who believes we've taken too long to launch TGE, this is why, right? If we put it at TGE with no product and no reason to buy the token and hold it, then what good have we done anyone? We're going to put out a token that people can dump on the market and then doesn't do anything good for the project. It doesn't do anything good for the token holders, except for maybe the couple that nuked it on the market. Look, I'm not interested in doing that at all. So this roadmap right here, us taking our time to get to TGE, putting out a product first, building up our clients, building up our user base, building up our metrics, all of this stuff is super important to actually create value for the Spice token. We're not launching a Spice token that is a meme coin, essentially. What we're doing is launching a Spice token that captures value from everything that happens in the network. All the transaction fees that the network takes, we want this to provide value for the Spice token, but we can't do that if there's no network live. So appreciate your guys's excitement towards this TGE. I also appreciate the patience. This is the way we've done things to make sure that TGE is not just this half-assed event in which we're throwing out a token and praying that it works out, because we've seen it doesn't just work out anymore. The market is only ready to support tokens that are actually accruing real value. So we need to create that real value and then launch the token. All right, understood? Seeing that you guys could not see my screen for the last little bit. I'm going to recap it real quick now that the screen's up there. My bad. It's hard when I'm doing this alone, right? I'm only looking at the X screen, and it's weird. StreamYard just shows you that I'm streaming my X screen, but I forgot that I actually have to go back and add it to the StreamYard screen. Sorry for my technical newbiness. So just to recap here, so you guys can see it visually. December, we had our BrokeX DevNet. 77% of users said that UX felt native to the chain they were coming from. February, we had our Elytra DevNet. This was the first one with EIP 7702. And 81% of users who participated felt that felt native to the chain. So a slight increase from the previous campaign. We're targeting 95%. We basically want to get to the point where most users have no clue what chain the app they're using is on, and they simply just don't care because it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Right now, we're testing Spice Edge, our second product. That's the institutional access one. With the integration partners we have, some of the more exciting names in the space, like Derive, largest options venue. And of course, we want to give people the ability to trade on Hyperliquid. Spice Edge is going to unlock institutional access with higher capital efficiency for all strategies that can be run on chain. My favorite part of the equation here, SpiceFlow Mainnet. This is when we're going to take the applications that have integrated SpiceFlow and we're going to allow them to push to production to serve all of their clients and open up the doors for everyone to participate and give you guys a lot of fun campaigns to participate in as well once that's gone live. After that, Q3 2026 is when we're going to aim to have our TGE, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. I've explained my TED Talk on why we don't just rush token launch and why we take it very seriously. And this is when we are hoping to execute that TGE. Spice Edge Mainnet comes just after that. I explained the product. By then, we will have far more clients participating with this, and we will have a much more clear understanding of the metrics and the feedback from users, just as we have spent a long time collecting for SpiceFlow and now have gotten the product to a very good place. And yeah, that's essentially the roadmap for this year. So big picture, we came out as the brokerage network for DeFi a while back, and that thesis has not changed. What we want to do is create access for everything on chain. I believe that this is the thing that is needed to get crypto from this niche thing to this thing that is adopted by the rest of the world. And I believe that we're not cooked and we're going to cross this chasm and we're going to lead the way with Spicenet, making that a possibility for the whole industry. So we've gathered the data points. We've proven out that the products do what we want them to do. We've gotten the feedback and adjusted what those products need to do to fulfill the needs of our clients. And now we're ready to ship SpiceFlow. We're going to be doing the same for Spice Edge. And of course, we're going to have that TGE this year, which is the moment you guys have all been waiting for. G-Spice. That's pretty much all I could say, guys. G-Spice. LGE. Yeah, so LGE is something we've talked about for a while. I can tell you're an OG based on the fact that you know about it. LGE is not currently on the roadmap. It is something that we will do because it's basically a campaign for us to gain liquidity within the network. And we've been able to create relationships to get liquidity within the network and create some other solutions. That doesn't require us to have as much liquidity in the network. So we've sort of solved it in some other ways, but I can say that there is plans to, still do liquidity campaigns that you guys can participate in, and there will be other ways for you guys to speculate on the token and be early to the launch. And that's all the information I can give on that for now. And those are all the questions I'm seeing. Tell us what to do to be eligible. To be eligible, let me just think about what you're looking for eligibility for. Well, regardless, what you'll want to do is follow us, join the Discords, and join the portal. And we have a quest portal there. We actually have an updated quest portal coming for mainnet launch. So there will be unique opportunities through that portal. Whatever it is in your mind that you're hoping to gain eligibility for will be judged based off of that portal. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, with that, I must get back to work. No further questions for today, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Until next time, stay spicy. Take care, guys.